Hari Om. Welcome to the second part of this video series. This video is focused on Satya, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the Hridaya or the center or the core around which every text of Sanatana Dharma is placed around. So, understanding this is central because this is the truth, this is what the reality is, and therefore we need to absorb this not only as the source from which we have emerged, but also our current state and also the state that we would like to get back to, regain. All of that is centered around these ideas of Satya. In fact, so important it is that even the Gita, in the beginning, in the second chapter, Bhagwan, says this particular shloka, which is quite popular, and many people who know the Gita know this quite well, which reads as Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtontaha, tvanayo tattva darshibihi, which is this ideas of Sat and Asat, where Krishna says that Asat can never come into being and Sat never ceases to be. And what this means is that if somebody asks us, what is the definition of Satya? The answer that is given by Dharma is that which is eternal is Satya. That which was, that is, and that will always be, that will be there at all times, that is Satya. And therefore, by that yardstick, anything that is not eternal is Asatya. So therefore, I see a chair or a table in front of me. The table or chair is not, one can argue from a sort of a modern lens that no, it's there. I can see it, I can feel it, so it's real. Nobody's doubting its reality. The question is whether a chair exists eternally. And the answer is no, there was no chair possibly a year or two back before this was kind of put together. This chair may not be after a few years when it kind of whittles down, then it will probably be broken up and maybe used to create something else. So, in the form of chair itself, though it is real today, it is not eternal, and therefore one cannot term the chair as Sat. Yeah. Having said that, there is this idea of Asat, which is Asat can never come into being, and therefore we hear people saying the world is an illusion. But is the world an illusion? I can see it, just like the chair which I mentioned. I can see it, I can feel it, I can live within it. So is it Asat? And the answer is no, it can't be Asat because Asat can never even come into being. And the fact that I see something existing means that this something cannot be an illusion, a mirage where we can say that it doesn't really exist. The water doesn't exist. Similarly, we cannot say that the world is an illusion. So then, what is Asat? We will come to all those sorts of ideas as we kind of go along. But this idea is central, which is the idea of Satya that needs to be absorbed because that is indeed the goal of these texts. Now, what is a good representation of Satya? There may be hundreds of representations. In fact, any Purana that you kind of you have the sort of saubhagya of going through and reading it, and then if one steps back and imagines, one can create a picture of the Satya the way a particular Purana has kind of conceived. I like this particular representation because it's simple, so which is why I'm using it, and therefore one can probably use a similar thought process and create another image which reflects Satya also. So, what is Satya here? There are sort of various elements here. One is, of course, right in the beginning, right in the center of this particular representation is the image of Sri Narayana and Sri Lakshmi. And what is given here is that there is a being aspect of reality and there is an experiencing aspect of reality. So, Sat Chit Ananda is our true state, is what any text of Sanatana Dharma keeps on referring to. The, the Shiva Sutra actually talks about Sat and Chit as the being aspects, and it is referred to as Prakasha and given the name of Shiva. And Shiva Sutra similarly says experiencing is the other aspect of our own nature, and that is referred to as Ananda here, even by the Shiva Sutra text, and is referred to as Vimarsha or and named as Shakti. So, in a sense, these two are not separate, these two are one. Sat and Chit representing the being aspect, and Ananda representing the experiencing aspect. One is referred to as masculine, not male. One is the other is referred to as feminine, not female. Both of us collectively make us. So I have a being aspect to myself. I have an experiencing aspect to myself. That is my pure, real, eternal, Sanatana nature. That's what the expression here is attempting to convey. What is Sat? Sat simply means to exist. What is, we discussed earlier that what exists eternally is what is Sat all about. So Sat aspect is one element of us. Second aspect is the Chit aspect, which is to cognize, to be aware of. That is the other aspect that is innate in my own identity. And the third aspect is the Ananda aspect, which is the one that experiences. And three of them collectively form one Satya, which is our Satchitananda state. Therefore, this becomes the source from where everything else emerges, is the way this aspect needs to be understood. Now, Vishnu or Narayana with Sri Lakshmi or Mahalakshmi is resting on Adisesha, who himself is resting on Kshirasagara. Kshirasagara is translated as cosmic waters in English. I don't understand that word. So, what is what is Kshirasagara mean? What does it really mean? The word on the right hand side bottom that you see is Mula Prakriti, which is nothing else but Mula means root, and root matter is what you can translate it as, which is more like undifferentiated matter, so to speak, which is, you can also probably use the if modern big bang idea is something that we would like to use upon. This is the universe in a state before the big bang has happened. So that way one can visualize Mula Prakriti, which is matter that is not differentiated into diversity. That is the root matter, which is again Satya, which is part of the Satya, that is also eternal, is the way Patanjali is expressing within the yoga school Prakriti, or even Sankhya school. Prakriti is also referred to as an eternal aspect. The other aspect are triguna, and we will get into more details on the guna. Right now, I will just mention that Prakriti, which is in a Mula Prakriti, also has three aspects to it in terms of three ways in which it is organized. One aspect is Sattva Guna, which is more like transparency, knowledge. That is Sattva Guna, which is closest to Paramatma, which is again the reason why we are showing it as close to Narayana. The other aspect is Rajoguna, and Brahma is shown here as a representation of Rajoguna, which has emerged from Narayana. And third aspect is Tamoguna or Tamas, and Shivalanga is given here as an expression of Tamas also. So Prakriti composed of three attributes, elements, whatever term you would like to use, all of them together are composed within Mula Prakriti. So Triguna is again Satya, part of Satya. The third is Panchabhuta, which is for those of you who are familiar with the idea of Panchabhuta, which is the five elements, which is Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, and Prithvi. This Adisesha is again shown as a representation of Panchabhuta in some texts, and there are other representations also. Now, this again is shown within Satya. Now, all these components are eternal. They are always there. They will always be there. Is the sort of a central core idea. Now, at this stage, it may be difficult to comprehend what this particular means. But as we get into the idea of Srishti and elaborate on it, the importance of Satya as the source for everything else that follows will become quite clear. So absorbing this idea of Satya is important. So I will again pause this particular video before I move on to the next aspect, which is Srishti. Hari Om.